everyone. This is Doug Davis, broker in charge at Crombie Realty, and here with another session of Ask Doug. And today I have with me Jim Schmit, architect, local architect here in Hawaii, and master architect, building over 500 or so homes. 700. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So we want to talk about more on permits and the ins and outs of getting permits for your home or condo or vacant land and house, condo, before the fact, after the fact, and what's involved with it all, because everyone asks all the time about permits, and it affects the real estate business after the fact. If you don't have a permit, you can't get an appraisal correctly. The buyer may not want to buy it. You may have penalties and fees. The building department might require you to retrofit your home, tear out the walls, all sorts of things like that. So my advice is to do it right, and Jim will tell you how you do that. So I guess I'll start with what triggers a permit. What gets it going?
Well, first of all, you have to plan on some kind of construction. You're going to do something that involves construction. It could be a new house on vacant land. It could be demolishing an existing house and building a new house. It could be remodeling an existing house. It could be getting a permit for a house that was built without one, and you bought it without a permit. Those are like the key big things, but it all starts with you're planning to do some construction. Now, there's all kinds of exemptions and various things as to what you need a permit for, and there's different ways that you get them, but it's basically around you're going to do some construction.
And that's no joke. I know of a home on the Big Island that someone bought and called me for help, and there was no permit, none whatsoever, for anything, electric, plumbing, nothing. So, wow, what a disaster that was. So, okay, so that's what triggers it. So what's the first thing that you would do then?
Okay, almost under all circumstances, and this I am not getting paid to tell this to you guys by these people, but you call Hawaii Real Property Research and you get the package of plans and information about your lot, and they provide it to you within a couple of weeks, and it'll tell you everything that was ever processed through the state or the city or an owner's association or an escrow account. All of that stuff comes in a package. Now, I typically need a smaller package than most people do because I don't need any of the background on how much money it costs for various things. I just need to know what is permitted and what is not permitted, what has ever been permitted on that lot. And they'll give you all of that information. And you can get prints from them, full-size prints, or you can get Xerox prints, or you can just get PDFs sent to you. That's what I like, is just get the PDF sent to me. And it's somewhere in the $150 range, and it's well worth it, no matter what, because you don't want to go to the building department or the state for a permit if you don't know what they've got on record. Because, for instance, you bought a house and you expect it has a permit and it doesn't. You want to know that before you submit to the building department, because there are all kinds of ways that you can submit that will be beneficial, and there will be all kinds of ways you can submit that are detrimental.
So, okay, so you get this building permit package and it says it got a permit.
Yeah.
But you really can't tell what the permit was for, like permit for new home.
Yeah.
But what about the new home? And then there's no blueprint anymore because the building department threw them in the garbage back in the 80s, 70s.
Yeah.
So what does the building permit package mean then when it just says it's got a permit?
Well, let's put it this way. Aside from the permit in general, one of the specific things that you need to have the history for is the Board of Water Supply, because you'll need to get signed off by the Board of Water Supply. And if you're building anything new, let's say that you find out that the bedroom and bathroom wasn't permitted, but the rest of the house was, and they added this on at some point. Okay, so they're going to tell you that that bathroom was not permitted, therefore you're going to pay the water service facilities charge for that bathroom. And then you'll also pay it for any new ones that you add to it. And that can be fairly expensive, $3,000 or $4,000, something like that. But let's say you go in there, the house has been demolished, and you're going to do a 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom house. Well, what you find out there is that it used to be a 3-bedroom, 3-bath house, and you're really only adding 1 bathroom. So they give you credit for what somebody else already paid them for the facilities charge, and you only pay for 1. That's good to know. Otherwise, you're wasting $3,000. So it can be fairly significant. More important is if something is not permitted. And usually now what's happening, because everything's online, is people like Doug get that information when they're selling a house or when someone comes to them about buying a house, because they can tell pretty sure soon if it's got a permit or not just by looking it up themselves.
Well, you just helped me with a little house in Manoa where the owner knew they didn't do it, but it was done before they bought it, decades ago, that a bathroom hadn't been permitted. So we got an after the fact permit for that.
Yeah.
Because eventually they're going to be selling it, and they didn't want to deal with the issue with the buyer and the appraisal and all of that sort of thing. So they got that done and completed, and it wasn't difficult.
Right.
You know. So what else?
It's never difficult. It's just annoying.
Well, everyone seems to think it's horrendously difficult. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, you're right. It's not difficult. You just have to go through the process. So what else do they care about, the building department?
If you're making a house bigger, they care about that. In other words, if the house right now is a 1,200 square foot house and you're going to add 800 square feet to it, you're going to need a permit for that, because they know it's only 1,200 because you've been paying taxes on that for the last 3 years or whatever. And if you're adding it, they want to get their fair share for the permit for that additional square footage.
So what about, you're supposed to get a permit for anything over $1,500.
Yeah.
So when would you have any involvement? I mean,
Well,
obviously,
there's the exemptions to what you're doing. So for instance, again, if you're creating something new construction or remodeling something with new construction, then you're going to be involved in that. If you're just going in there and recarpeting or painting or re-roofing, it doesn't require you to get a permit. Cabinets don't require a permit. Plumbing and electrical fixtures that are being replaced exactly as they were on the same point of connection don't need a permit. But I rarely find anyone that says, I want to take the toilet and the tub and the bathroom and the faucets out and replace them exactly where they were. Very few people want to do that. Condos more than single family, because almost anytime you've got an option, someone's going to want to make the bathroom bigger and move the toilet or whatever. So, but if you don't move it, you don't need a permit. If you do need a permit, it's fairly easy to get because you're not adding anything.
So what about the nuance of, for example, you're going to put drywall up over hollow tile wall. It's obviously going to cost more than $1,600. And I know if you first strip it onto the hollow tile, then it becomes a structural issue with the building department. They want a permit for that. But you don't necessarily need an architect at that point, or you do?
Well, there's a difference. You need an architect at whatever dollar value triggers that. And I forget what that is, probably the same $1,500, but it's in that range. But if you're adding the chipboard to the wall,
yeah,
it's really nothing that they care about, other than that they can get because that's not one of the exempt items.
right.
So because it's not exempt, you owe them a permit fee to do it. And
Could you do it yourself without an architect for something simple like that?
sure, you could. You could, if it's not $1,500. If you know you're paying someone more than $1,500 as opposed to your own labor, you know, you can at that point get away with it. But we don't want to get away with anything when it's going to come back and bite you later.
But so if you're gonna put drywall up with the stripping behind it, do you have to have a blueprint to give them?
Not necessarily. They're getting fussy about blueprinting now, and they're like this year, December 30th is the last day you can submit on paper for remodels.
Really?
Yeah. Starting January 1st, everything's going to go through e-filing, and e-filing is primarily not a very workable system.
But no more rolls of blueprints?
One roll, which you keep on the job site for the job site copy. But it's like, I'll do anything to avoid e-filing, but that's just the way it is.
That's the way it's going.
And it has nothing to do with the fact that I learned on paper, and I've done paper for a long time. I was also probably the first architect in Hawaii that was computerized. I had a Mac 2CI in 1988, and I've been a Mac fan ever since, and I'm pretty computer literate. But that's not the issue. The issue is the building department is not computer literate enough.
Right, to read them. So what about this auto permit? And how long does it take to get permits? And there's that new law about automatically gets permitted if they take too long. What's all
Okay,
that
so
about?
that's not a new law. That's actually been around for 15 years or so. And I've done 20 houses on automatic approval because it limits the building department's time to process the plans.
So that means they didn't stamp it? What does that mean, auto approval?
Okay, so if you submit your plans following all the various instructions that there are, and there aren't very many, you can have your permits can be automatically approved if they don't complete the review within a specified amount of time. And I don't want to get into a lot of detail about this right now because I feel like I like the guys at the building department. I like the administration down there. I like the inspectors. They're all really good people. I don't want to blindside anybody. And we've already talked to the director a little bit. Everybody else that knew about it all these years has retired or died. You know, literally, they're either gone, but they're not available anymore to teach people. And somebody along the way deleted all this information from the website, but I saved it all, so I have all of that information. But I feel like I need to go talk to the director and say, this could be a really positive thing for Hawaii, a really positive thing for Hawaii. The unions aren't going to like it, but it's going to be a positive thing for Hawaii. And until I do that, I don't want to get into too much detail, but obviously anybody who wants to find out can find out somehow what the process is. There are some people who say they've done it, besides myself. But maybe we'll have another one of these meetings after we get that worked out. But I do feel like I want to give the building department a chance to that would be their idea, as opposed to having the general public rise up in mass.
Well, there you go. Well, so it's out there though.
It's out there.
Yeah, okay. Well, anything else you might want to add? What happens if you get busted?
In what sense?
Like
Like paying a bribe? You know what happens to that, because
No,
I've
no.
already gone through that.
apropos to my industry, real estate business, you get busted because you didn't have a permit for a bathroom that was completely put in with no permit. And that would be all the plumbing, and there would be some electrical in there.
Well, the bottom line is you get an after the fact permit. You go in and you get a permit for what was done. And ironically, how the building department wants that presented to them is because it was never permitted, you have to call it a new bathroom. They're very big on semantics, and I'm not. Calling it a new bathroom doesn't make it a new bathroom. But as far as they're concerned, it's easier for them to then get a fee for you to get a permit.
So might you have to tear the wall out so that you could see the wires behind the wall and the plumbing behind
Not
the
in my
wall?
experience. Nobody really is worried about any of that. They're worried about getting fees paid to the building department and everybody who is due fees.
Well, and having it safe too. I would
You
imagine.
know, that's a really generous thought. I mean, I would love to think
Okay.
that that's it.
See, Jim's in the trenches. I just see that after it's all done, so.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
in Europe, for instance, you don't have to have railings on your stairway to your second floor if you don't want them. They don't have the same kind of protect you from yourself mentality that the United States has. And Hawaii is a part of the United States, obviously, and they want to protect you from yourself as much as any other building department anywhere.
I just went to a house yesterday and 3 flights of stairs from the carport to the house. A lot of steps, pretty steep too, no handrail.
Mhm.
And if anything, that's a safety thing. Wow.
And for some of us, that's more of a safety thing than for others. I love handrails.
There was nothing to grab on the way down.
Well,
So-
obviously, if that's your project and you bought it, you should put a handrail on. You know, I mean, that's good advice.
So,
But I'm not saying if you don't put a handrail on, I'm gonna come over and harass you. Or I'm gonna fine you or anything else.
so
It's reality.
from the homeowner's position, is this just a miserable thing to do and after the fact?
No, none of it is a miserable thing to do. Like I said, it's all very structured and you can follow the rules and you can do it properly. Interpretations become a little bit of an issue because the building department does a lot of things based on interpretation. And then they don't tell you what the interpretation is, which they're required to do.
So if you did it yourself without an architect, would there be a greater chance of being penalized by the building department as opposed to having someone like yourself smooth it out? And
Well, yeah. They are very forgiving on penalties. If the penalty is a threat more than it is a reality. And I'm not entirely sure why they don't collect the penalties all the time, but they don't. And but I think that goes to what you're saying about wanting you to be safe. They do want anything that is a safety issue to be corrected. You know, they really do. But I don't exactly understand how that gets around to forgiving a penalty, but it happens all the time.
all right, so you hire someone like yourself to do an after the fact permit and do a new bathroom and
You can even do your own after the fact permit for easy stuff. You may need the supervision of an engineer or an architect or an electrical engineer, but that's separate from the permit issue, especially with condos, you know. But it's very simple if you follow the rules, and you can find out the rules for everything except auto approval online. It's all there, you know, and then again, it's some of it's common sense,
got it. Yeah.
you know.
Okay, well, I think that will help a lot for people that get in a bind and wanting to know what to do and what to do after the fact, and knowing that it's not the end of the world, which is how I think most people think.
Yeah.
And just get it done and have a clear conscience and have a straight shot to getting your home sold and get a full appraisal as opposed to a partial appraisal. Well, there you go. Well, thanks so much. That was very
pleasure.
informative, and
I'll keep you posted if things work out
I had fun.
in the future.
Okay, everyone. Well, thanks for watching, and until next week. Appreciate your questions.
Okay.
Have a great holiday season. Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.